On today's show, the guys bring you a conversation they had with Elizabeth Eckford. She's one of the Little Rock Nine and civil rights icon. They got some banter between the boys, all of that and more up next on EduTechGuys. You're listening to the EduTechGuys, EduTechGuys.com. Hello and welcome to EduTechGuys. I'm David Henderson.
I'm Jeff Madlock.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, downloading, turning on something.
All that good stuff.
For listening.
Yeah, listening. So to turn you on some more, why don't you head out to the web at www.edutechguys.com, or heck, just go to Google, type in EduTechGuys, and you're going to find us. We are everywhere.
We are, man. We're on all of the medias of social.
All the medias of social. Good it is. So, yeah, we are out there. Hey, that's interesting. You might be listening to this on May the 4th, which is Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah. A lot of Star Wars movies out there.
There is. I forgot. We usually do a Star Wars show.
I know it, but this year it falls on a Saturday, and I'll be sleeping late, and then I got a jazz gig. So.
Oh, well, hey, there you go.
I'm going to be jazzing it up on the 4th.
Jazzy 4th.
Take my bass lightsaber and go to town.
You are literally, well, we'd have to come up with something for you to do in addition to being Jazzy Jeff that would give you the DJ. You are DJ. Jazzy Jeff.
I was thinking more of like, so, you know, in jazz, when you play for a big band, you walk a bass line, so that would make me Jeff Bass Walker.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go.
So that's my May the 4th name. Just to get that out there. Hey, listen, we know your school's about to wrap up, probably. This is, we're 3, 4, 5 weeks away from most schools closing down, and Arkansas will be done in about 3 weeks here. About May the 25th is their usually last day is, I think, coming up. So if you've got some stuff you'd like to find out about the summer, you want to hear some different ideas on the podcast, let us know. Go to the website, drop down to the bottom of the page. You'll find a nice little contact form there. Let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, we want
to email us.
That's right. Yeah, we want to know what you guys want to hear us talk about.
Yep, or just Twitter us.
You could Twitter us.
Just to send us a nice tweet.
However, I don't know at this point, because I don't know where we fit in the whole Instagram not liking things anymore. I don't know if you can like our stuff or not. You know, have you heard of that?
Huh.
Oh, yeah. So Instagram is trying this new thing where you can't like stuff.
What?
Yeah, because of evidently there's been some kind of study or something, some research done where the whole concept of likes and how many likes you get is very detrimental psychologically or something. And so they are rolling out a test, and I don't know how you find out if you're in the test or not, but they're rolling out a test where you will no longer have likes on your... Now,
so I wonder if that comes with a box of kittens and some diapers and a bib.
Maybe so.
Because, I mean, we're getting ridiculous here.
What's funny is my understanding is you can still like it, like you can double tap and give the heart. It just doesn't show how many people like it.
So that doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah, that's what I'm like.
Hey,
what's the point?
You remember in May 2019, June 2019, when Instagram slit its own throat?
Yeah, exactly.
And bled out over the summer because we don't want to do likes anymore.
Yeah, I was listening to something on the way in. I can't remember what YouTube or NPR or I don't know, whatever it was, and. There was an interview with the guy that created Twitter, and he said that if he were to create Twitter today, he wouldn't put likes on there.
Huh.
I'm like, what?
I guess I don't understand what that means. I mean...
I don't know. Well, like I said, whatever.
They just want follows. I guess that's just it.
I guess so. And I guess psychologically there are some people that, they're basing their entire self-worth on... how many likes they have?
We're not going to get into that whole thing because that'll just open up a whole can of worms. But that's interesting. So if you're looking for a new social media platform, this summer's the time to go ahead and start moving around.
That's right.
If you like the likes, start checking out the other stuff.
Right.
Wow.
Find other places you can like people. I don't know. It's really bizarre. But
so this last week we got a really big opportunity. We had a good time at the Arkansas Association of Instructional Media educators conference, and it was really great. And during that time, we got to sit down with a lot of great authors and a lot of great new authors, a lot of instructional media educators, and just a lot of folks in general. And but we did get to meet Elizabeth Eckford, and her new book, which is co-written, which we'll explain that all in the interview. But we'll take a listen to it. But first, how about we hear from one of our sponsors?
Yeah, that's great, man. I've been in education for more than 20 years, and I've seen the challenges some students have to face every day. Whether it's going to school hungry or not being able to see a doctor when they're sick, these challenges can make it hard for kids to focus on learning.
Thankfully, Concordia University in Portland is leading the way with their 3 to PhD program that helps to combat student fears, freeing them to pursue their high streams. They're revolutionizing education by creating a holistic model that provides groceries, healthcare, and even clothing to students right there on campus, helping them thrive and helping our communities strengthen and grow.
Yeah, Concordia's College of Education offers online and on-campus programs where students have the opportunity to learn about a more compassionate approach to education and to see how nurturing the whole student can lead to amazing things.
You know what? To learn more about how you can help students conquer their monsters and achieve their high streams, visit cu-portland.edu/let's conquer. #nurture, educate, grow. Due to circumstances beyond our control, the first 6 minutes of the next recording has a sound that was, unfortunately, in the way. We apologize for any distraction. Hey, welcome back to the EduTechGuys, coming to you live from AAIM 2019 in beautiful Rogers, Arkansas. We have a very honored guest with us now, and I'm going to let David introduce her and tell us some information, and we'll get to going.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to welcome to the show Elizabeth Eckford, a member of the Little Rock Nine, along with Dr. Eurydice Stanley and Grace Stanley, who have put together a book, The Worst First Day. So welcome to the show. Thank you very much for sitting down and visiting with us.
Thank you for having us.
So tell us how this book come about.
I met Grace 1997 during the 40th anniversary of the commemoration of desegregation of Central High. We consider September 25th an anniversary date. And she was working on her dissertation, and she wanted to do a project with me, and I had met the girl who's in the picture, the iconic picture. I talked to her in 1963, and the photographer who had taken that picture brought us together in 1997. And we spent 2 years together talking to students. And Hazel wanted to talk about her hopes for the future. She said that she had amnesia. And we did that for 2 years, but I was waiting for the amnesia to go away. It never did. So we broke up. But over the years, Grace's Eurydice has urged me to write a book. And I had been interested in it for a long time. I've talked about that subject with students several times a year.
Sure.
Because some student groups come to Little Rock. But lately it seems like in some places the subject has an importance. It's part of the curriculum in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So kids who come here from New Zealand know a lot about what happened in Little Rock.
And actually, Elizabeth will be going to New Zealand this summer.
I was just going to ask if you've had a chance to go and talk with students there.
I will talk to students and teachers during sessions in 3 cities from the 4th of August through the 14th of August. It'll be my first time I will have been in the South Pacific and experienced their winter.
Oh, yes.
Well, and New Zealand seems to be a beautiful
feelings
country.
about that.
Yeah.
Well, and they've had a little bit of turmoil lately.
Yes.
You know, they need to. I think they're just a little behind us in getting your race relations fixed and religious tolerance fixed in that country. So it'll be a fun trip, interesting trip. Yeah.
But what you're alluding to is a person who came and killed people deliberately at places of worship. He came from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. You came to the perfect place, AAIM, which is Instructional Media Conference, and you brought your books. How was the reception for your book here?
It's been wonderful. There were a lot of people in that place where we were, and they were very receptive.
That's good.
We had skewed it especially for that audience.
We tried to ensure that they knew how the different topics that were addressed within the book, the anti-bullying theme, the desegregation, Brown versus Board of Education, just a myriad of topics, the Emmett Till lynching, but also how civil rights history could be used to teach current topics.
Sure.
But we primarily focus on the fact that it's an anti-bullying book, and it's so important now that we have so many students who are committing suicide due to bullying, and that is something that we want to specifically address, and we want to ensure that students know the importance of self-concept, self-love, and to not allow a bully to take the most precious gift, their lives.
Yes.
And I use an example from my own life while I was a high school student of how important a person can be by reaching out to someone who's being set apart and hated upon. I was a shy teenager, and I always looked forward to going to the last class of the day, the speech class. It was very welcoming compared to my other classes.
Yeah.
It was welcoming because there were 2 students there who spoke to her, 2 white students.
And they did it deliberately and continually.
Oh, that's nice.
Among the 9 of us, we can point to 12 people who were long-term supporters. Of course, there were a lot of people who just turned their backs.
Sure.
And there was an organized group, led by adults even, who tormented us every day from beginning to end.
But there were 12 out of about more than 2,000 that were kind to them.
Yeah.
A lot of people just turned their backs.
I mean, that gives you a really interesting insight on bullying,
Yeah.
and we see it continually raises its ugly head throughout our history, world history, this country. But that really gives you an interesting insight about bullying in the education process, considering there were only 12 people that would ever actually speak to you.
Well, and 2 of those were secret phone friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because people who had reached out to us began to be treated like we were. Their parents got the hateful phone calls late at night, and they received threats. I didn't know until 36 years later that the girl who was in my speech class, who reached out to me, didn't live in the city. Her father drove her into Little Rock every day to go to school. She lived on a dairy farm.
Oh, wow.
And her father had hired armed guards for their place.
Wow.
And the other person was strongly supported by his parents. Once his mother got a phone call saying he had been injured and that he was at the bus stop, she and her sister, who are diminutive people, rushed over carrying a tire and found that he had not been injured. This was just part of the terror tactics.
Yeah.
Oh,
just a
yes.
constant psychological attack is really what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I especially stress to students how it feels when people turn their backs and don't respond to what they had to have heard and seen. It made me feel like they thought I was getting what I deserved.
Right.
Go ahead.
I want to kind of talk about the sort of the other side of the message here. At least one of my takeaways is that the perseverance through the bullying, right? A lot of times, as we've mentioned, school-age suicide rates is just unbelievable, right now, and a lot of the students don't necessarily see a way out of it or see the other side of things. And I think part of your story, part of this story is the other side. And yes, there was bullying, and yes, there were awful things that people had to go through, but you stuck with it. You persevered.
We started out as individuals, not as a group.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to get the best education possible, because all of us wanted to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
I knew my parents couldn't afford to send me. I needed scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wanted to go to Central.
That's
I wanted to be as well prepared as possible.
Yes.
But once they were there, they also knew that there were others who would be following, and there was a great sense of responsibility to
In our
stay.
own lives, we have known people who have made tremendous sacrifices
Yes.
to bring about change. One was a Little Rock school teacher who sued the local district in 1948, asking that Negro teachers and administrators be paid equal to whites.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't rehired by any of the 3 local districts until 1955.
a punishment, yes.
Yeah.
So when in your life did you realize the role that you played and the 9 played? When did it come to you that you had not just about getting your education, but this means something? Did
Well,
you know that
I
at the moment you were going, or was that something that came to you afterwards?
It came very, very gradually. I knew that it was important for us to try to stick it out, but many times it was quite a challenge to get dressed and go back into a hellhole.
Mm-hmm.
But one of us was expelled because she retaliated, and the chant in school became 1 down, 8 to go. What made me continue to go to school is I have a strong streak of stubbornness. I couldn't let them win.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it was really, really hard to keep going back, knowing it was not going to get any better.
When did you realize that the broad scope of everything that you accomplished would reach such a huge impact?
When people talk about what happened, they often don't point out what I think is most important. That was the constitutional challenge between state government and federal government. The last time that had come up was during slavery.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that an elected official had acted to enforce court orders regarding desegregation. President Eisenhower sent 1,000 paratroopers to Little Rock.
Yeah.
After that, people around the world had seen some ugly truths about America. We had tried to get in school on September 4th, 1957, and we had a 17-day impasse where we didn't know where we would go to school and when. And we got into school on, I think, September 23rd, surreptitiously, through a side entrance. You know, Central is 2 blocks wide, and by this time, the mob was down at the other end of the street. So it took an hour and a half for the students as a whole to learn we were in the school and the people outside. By this time, the governor had withdrawn the National Guard. He could have kept them there to preserve peace and good order, but he chose to withdraw them so that the local police set up barricades and tried to control the crowd. Well, they weren't trained for crowd control. People started drifting in that area from 5 a.m. on. And the first day, those protesters numbered about 250. By September 23rd, there were 1,000 people out there, and they had such rage when they learned that we were in the school. The police chief had promised them that he would give one of us to them, and they gathered us in school and said that they had to remove us for our own safety. We didn't want to go, but they had unmarked cars in the building and policemen in civilian clothes And I remember that the chief of police told us to stay down in the cars so we wouldn't be seen. They told the drivers to drive fast and not stop for anything.
Mm-hmm.
They saved our lives that day. And most things that happened at school weren't publicized.
Right.
Very, very seldom would there be a newspaper article or local account of what was happening there.
Mm-hmm.
And there were definitely no pictures.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Well, they couldn't let that out. That would have softened, the idea of what was actually going on. They didn't want that to happen.
They
Yeah.
didn't want any empathy whatsoever.
Exactly.
Right.
The
Exactly.
district had intended limited token desegregation.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
Mhm. Well, look how long it took after that. Look how long it took.
Yeah, it took a long
Because
time
Brown
for
versus Board of
integration to
Education-
appear.
The Brown versus Board of Education decision was 1954.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So this was 1957.
And schools in Mississippi didn't even begin
Oh.
to desegregate until 1972.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to change the kind of direction of the conversation just a little bit here.
Okay.
And I want to bring in Grace, who you're a teenager who's been a part of this project. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, or I want you to share your experience with this process in writing and what it's like to be a published author as a teenager.
It's been a great experience, and I've known Miss Eckford, who I call my aunt, my entire life because my mother and Miss Eckford have been friends for over 20 years. So I've always considered her family.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a great opportunity to share her story, and specifically as a teen author, it's given me a great opportunity to show other young authors that they can be published and they can achieve their goals and dreams if their dream is to pursue writing as a career, that they can do it as well.
That's honest. That's we talk about the process. Was the process? Did you learn a lot about the process, and was it fun? And does it make you go, great, I'm going to write the rest of my life? Is it one of those things?
Or never want to write again.
Yeah.
We're still
I was
learning.
to say, we're
Still
still asking
learning.
everybody that
Yeah.
question, right?
Yeah.
Writing isn't my end goal in life.
Yeah.
I'm going to become a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And OBGYN or a neonatologist.
Yeah.
I love babies, but I've always history is a very interesting subject, and it is always one that you can expound upon. So I believe that our goal or our job, which was to tell Miss Eckford's story, has been achieved, and that we can help other people know the entire story, because there's always snippets and clips of it that people usually say over and over again.
Right.
But it's always the specifics that are usually missed out on, which is what we try to explain in a interesting way that any age group can understand.
Oh, very well put.
Among the nine of us, none of us talked about what had happened inside school for 30 years, because to do so is to walk through pain. I started speaking to high school students intentionally in 1999. When I was first approached, I said no. It was a very, very persistent teacher who kept calling me. But what he did something that got my attention. He had 100 students write me.
Wow.
And that is what made me want to talk to students.
That's really amazing.
And I had wanted to talk about it because I started hearing revisions of what had happened.
Yes.
And I just couldn't bear that.
Yeah.
If you could think of maybe just one thing that you learned through this process and through working with her and talking with her to develop the book, something that you learned that you probably didn't know before. You're like, I never knew that. You kind of get that kind of aha, wow, I didn't know that.
I think it was how close, because I feel that my generation has a misconstrued sense of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always wasn't that long ago.
Right.
It for a lot of my generation, it's always well, I don't really care. It happened so long ago. Doesn't affect me when it really does.
Yeah.
It's just often the ways that we are taught to learn history aren't in captivating ways. And if it's not interesting and you don't want to learn it in the first place, then you really don't care.
Right.
So it's just all the specifics and everything that went into it, but definitely how close it was.
Yeah.
And how it's the 60th anniversary was last year or 2 years ago.
1918.
I mean, the 60th
2018.
So last year, the 60th anniversary was last year, which is only a lifetime.
Right.
Right.
So it's how quickly everything has happened since then.
Yeah.
There's always so far we have to go, but just time.
Yeah.
It's always very interesting.
So so let's talk about this. So where can they get the book if they want to buy the book?
You can purchase it on Amazon if you just type in The Worst First Day.
Okay. And in a website maybe or social media?
We have a Facebook page,
Oh,
The
cool.
Worst First Day, and we also have Lamp Press on Facebook, and we have The Worst First Day on Instagram, and we are working on getting the website up.
Cool.
Great. That's
Hey,
fantastic.
thank you
Well,
for coming
thank
to
you.
visit with us. Thank you, Eckford, for
Yes, thank you very much.
It's been an honor.
Thanks for
Thank you.
giving us this
Thank
time.
you.
You know, one of the things that I think is pretty cool about podcasting is transcribing the audio into notes.
Yes.
And that was actually pretty hard, but luckily that's all kind of changing. A lot of, opportunities out there, and one in particular is rev.com.
Yeah, man. And whether it's a podcast and you want to transcribe that audio into words that you can then post on your
YouTube
blog.
channel.
You got a YouTube channel. You can add that to the description or to the captions,
Right.
on the YouTube
Hey.
video itself.
Well, you're a writer writing a
Right.
book. If I want to just transcribe some notes, that's a great way to do it. And writing out all your thoughts, it takes too much time. So just take the audio and have it retranscribed. Meetings, conferences. I mean, it's pretty cool because I guess you can get some pretty valuable insights that way by going back and reading through interviews and speeches and anything that you have because you're transcribing it. What do you think it would do for SEO?
Well, I mean, come on. When we're talking SEO, search engine optimization, it's going to add value to your website, to your blog, to your YouTube channel, because you can take that audio, have it transcribed into the words, and that's what the search engines are looking for anyway. They're looking for the words in the body of your content.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Google's going to search it, it's going to pull it in, and you'll get higher ranked based on the content you're just talking about.
Well, and that's true. Like, especially if you want to avoid creative blocks, you can use that to transcribe your white papers and things like that. So really big deal. So, what's really great about that right now is one of our sponsors, Rev.com, is giving us the opportunity to offer you a free trial. Right now, to let yourself try for free, Rev is offering a $10 coupon for first-time users. Just visit www.rev.com/blog/EduTechGuys to get your $10 coupon to try out Rev for free now.
Hey, we want to thank Elizabeth Eckford, Dr. Eurydice Stanley, and her daughter Grace Stanley for spending time with us at the AIM 2019 conference. That was amazing. I mean, it really was.
And it really shows you the power of AAIM getting in the right people, especially the authors and young authors, because, Grace, this is her first book. She's 16. She's still, becoming a writer, wants to be a doctor, but going to become a writer. But yeah, we want to thank them for sitting down. Really shows you what can happen at conferences and what opportunities you can find there in the hallways.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I loved about Grace's response to some of the stuff that we were talking about, especially when I asked her about writing and stuff, she was like, yeah, that was kind of cool, but I want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids are going to tell you what they're going to tell you, man. I mean,
I want to be a doctor. Just writing stuff's for the birds.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a great conference. If you get an opportunity next year, if you're an instructional media person in the state of Arkansas or not, sign up, go to their website, and check them out. Just search for the Arkansas Association of Instructional Media, and you'll find their conference information, and check them out. Had a great time, and want to thank them for really treating us like kings when we were there. We had a good time. They really, really gave us a wonderful opportunity, and it's a really nice, comfortable conference.
Yeah, and this year was in Rogers, but I think she said the next 2 years it's going to be in Hot Springs. So
that's closer to us. So
closer to us, and Hot Springs is a really wonderful tourist area. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff, whether you're into hiking or arts or history or, I mean, holy cow, there's all kinds of stuff to do. I mean, I guess if it's about the same time next year, heck, even the Magic Springs amusement park will be open. So, hop a roller coaster.
Ride a log ride. Yeah, listen, do us a favor. Go out to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of your favorite ones, and like us, follow us, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah. If Instagram doesn't kill it, follow us on there. We always like to know if we're doing a good job and if you like us. But Instagram doesn't want you to like us anymore because they just want everybody to feel calm. Oh, by the way, Instagram will be mailing out to everyone a participation trophy. Immediately join Instagram, you get a participation trophy, so everybody feels good about that. Hey, this is a sarcastic Jeff Madlock, and
this is a very befuddled David Henderson.
Yeah, hey, we'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the EduTech Guys, edutechguys.com.